And welcome back aboard Blurred Force One with your boy Mo and your girl Polly. And this is the Supercast where we talk about all things superhero in our pop culture media. It's movies, TV shows, video games, comics. We talk about the news, do some speculation, all that good nerdy stuff. And before we get into the podcast today, you know what to do. Get down there and hit like on this video. So we're on the cusp of superhero summer. I saw someone post about this actually, about all of the dope stuff we're getting over the superhero summer. But before we get into that, we have to say goodbye to spring. And Spider-Noir is going to help us do that. They dropped the entire series this week. We binged it. We're going to talk about it, let you know what we're thinking about it. Plus, some other cool stuff happened this week. But before we get into all of that good stuff, we got to say what's up to our resident Reed Richards truther, comics aficionado, all around, dope blurred. That is, of course, Polly. Polly, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm doing absolutely great. It's Friday. I'm feeling like, finally,
Are you feeling
the
like
week is over.
you feeling like Vanessa Black? It's Friday. Remember that? Remember that terrible?
No,
Remember that terrible
isn't she
song?
Rebecca?
Rebecca Black. Sorry, but I always get her.
I never,
Rebecca
never
Black.
actually wasn't. I was actually never mad at that song. Like I didn't hate it with every fiber of my being, like most people did, because I didn't hear it anywhere. So
It was funny,
yeah,
but what a time. Like
yeah.
15 years
Mostly,
ago.
I do feel like that. I'm like, maybe more like Black Eyed Peas with I Got a Feeling, something like that.
Yeah, that's a
Those
dope
vibes.
song. That's what's up.
Well, yeah. So yeah, it's been a great week. I did some nerdy stuff. I read some comics. Of course, I read some comics. Watched some movies. Unfortunately, I have not watched Mandalorian and Grogu, and
Oh
I
no.
I will not make it in time. Like I in our theaters, I missed the opportunity to go in our town, so not gonna happen. I'm gonna wait for it to come out on Disney Plus. So please don't spoil anything to me. But I haven't actually heard people talk about it a lot online. I've seen just, oh, that was good, and they like moved on pretty
Right.
easily. So I don't know what to say. But you probably will have something to say. But the rest, the rest of the stuff, I actually did some catching up on like nerdy things, anime to be precise. I watched Ghost in the Shell for the first time.
Oh, you're talking about the
Uh,
OG from the 80s?
yeah,
Ooh.
the original, the anime, the movie.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I really liked the way it looked. It was pretty impressive. Uh, didn't seem groundbreaking to me, of course, because probably back in the day it seemed very different to people who watched it.
Yep.
To me, it was not that original, but it was
Is
still
it?
gorgeous, like
It's
absolutely
almost.
stunning.
Is it 40 years ago? It's got to be 40 years
Yeah,
old because it came out in
probably.
came out in the mid 80s. I want to say maybe late 80s, but something like that. It's a foundational anime as far as I'm concerned. I have it on Blu-ray, of course. I got it on sale
Of
probably about
course.
5 or 6 years ago. I've seen it multiple times. If you like that one, I will recommend you watch the sequel, which came out probably 10 years ago. It's pretty good. Also, if you really liked it, I will recommend that you go watch Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex, which is a show from the like 2000, like 99, 2000, somewhere around there, 2001 ish, and it's a direct sequel to the movie. It's a TV series that had 2 seasons, and it's very good. Like it's one of my favorite anime of all time. So if you like the movie, Standalone Complex is a good one. I'm sure you can find it somewhere.
Okay.
And Ghost in the
I
Shell 2 is really good.
Okay. I'm gonna check it out. Writing it down actually.
Nice.
I watched Ponyo, which is,
Oh, that's
probably
cool.
Miyazaki fans, yeah, they know what it is. It was pretty nice. I just kind of like I did not like everything I've seen from him. Didn't like what was it, Spirited Away really much. Kind of was weird for me. But I did like different things. So this one was the one. This one was one of the ones I liked. Jesus, what
Right.
am I saying? Yeah, and the rest of the week, just reading comics as usual. No,
Nice.
no, 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 on a budget for me. Yeah, no.
Now, I did nerd on a budget, but it's just one thing, so I'm not even gonna make a segment out about it. I'm just gonna show it to you. So
Just brag.
I just picked up this
Oh,
from it's a game apparently, like it's got dice and cards or whatever. It's got the miniatures. It's one of those things where they're like buy this and then now you have to buy all the other boosters and stuff. I'm not gonna do that. I like the little figures. They're tiny, you can barely see it, but Asajj Ventress, Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, and Commander Cody. I'll probably just take these out and set them on my desk because why not? It's $4. So
I almost got roped into starting buying HeroClix back in the day because of
yeah,
that, but I didn't. I didn't get into
Hero
that.
Clicks. I never could get into it, and probably for the best.
Bad little tiny
Even though I
statues.
did probably over almost 2 years ago, I think I bought these guys. These were for the Marvel. Well, I'm
I
not
remember
Marvel.
them. Infinity.
Disney Infinity or something like that. That
Yes,
little.
yes.
So
I saw them. I was planning to buy them, but never got around
I
to doing
got
that.
so I got Black Widow and I got
Hmm.
Thor. They're very cool. But I found that at
I
the
saw them at a Disney store.
yeah, I found them at a thrift store. So they were, I mean,
Hmm.
those are $5 each. I don't know if they were worth $5, but they're cool. Um, so otherwise, my nerding us over the last week. So last week, in my personal life, I was out of town for my daughter's high school graduation. So I went to say,
Congratulations.
thank you, thank you. I've been talking about it for like a year now, but it's come and gone. So she's now out of high school, getting ready to go to college in a few months. That was cool. It was really great to that's my little homie. I always tell you that, but like I'm not kidding. She's like my best friend. So so seeing her walk was awesome. Getting to hang out with her and my folks and her folks. It was fun. So yay there. I'll keep you guys up to date on her her getting to college and all of the fun that's gonna be. Beyond that, I did do some actual nerdy stuff. When I saw I Love Boosters, which I think you all should go see. I briefly talked about it on social media. Boots Riley is out there hustling on social media trying to get y'all to go see it. I say go see it. Also, it's been out of almost 2 weeks now. Well, it's going in. This is its second weekend. It's a weird ass movie, and I love it. I love black people and weird shit. He also the reason why I was like, yeah, I'm with this, as he did this show called I'm a Virgo, and it's weird as hell. It really is. It's a weird show. You can watch it on Amazon Prime. Also, he did was it Sorry to Bother You, which I haven't seen yet, but I've heard that's weird as hell too. He's got a crazy, strange aesthetic. Kiki Palmer's great in it. You got Taylor Page, Poppy Lou, Demi Moore, Don Cheadle's in it. You won't recognize him. Naomi Aki. So like a bunch of really great actors in a movie that goes way crazy in many ways, and it's also got a really deep anti-capitalist pro-worker message. I say go see it. It's I hope it's your cup of tea. It can be very weird, so I'm just letting you know that. I did see Mandalorian Grogu also. I saw that same day. Um, you're like, well, why aren't people really talking about it? You know why? Because it's fine.
Yeah.
Because it's fine.
Oh,
well,
who's that,
well,
bird?
well, let me shore that up. It's like watching a really long episode of the show. Or how about this? It's like watching the first half of a season of the show in one sitting, right? So
Does it conclude the story?
it starts and concludes a story. Um, that's why I said it's like an episode, a really long episode, or a third to a half of a season. Um,
Didn't
the
need to be a movie.
it could have been it could have been a part of a season.
Hmm.
I appreciate the fact that they spent a lot of money on it, so they were able to do a lot more cool stuff visually. There's a lot of action in it. If you're here for Star Wars action, you're gonna get all of it. The only thing you're not gonna get is lightsabers. Um, if you're here from Grogu, Baby Yoda stuff, you're gonna get plenty of that too. Or those tiny little those little aliens that that like work on like they're like
Jawas?
mechanics. No, they're like mechanics. They're like these tiny things that were in like
Oh,
I forget was it
and the Rise of Skywalker.
yeah.
I
They're
did
in
not like those.
there's some of they're in it. It's got puppetry and all that stuff. There's plenty of creatures. You know, there's always an excuse to have some classic Star Wars action. Um, I just don't think that enough character work was done. Like it didn't. It was remember it's like watching an episode of a show. So the characters aren't gonna move very far. They're not gonna grow too much. They don't. I mean, their character journeys are not far. So it really is just a kind of an excuse to have people getting blasted with blasters and Mando to go around being dope. They do introduce a character, Jabba the Hutt's son, played by Jeremy Allen White, and it's cool, but like it's not a story I'd never heard before, and it's not super compelling. He's just trying to get out from his dad's shadow, and also people are trying to kill him. Okay, and Mando's going to be a good guy. I don't think Jeremy. I think Jeremy Allen White was wasted on it. There's no reason for him. They could have had anybody. Anybody could have voiced that character, and it wouldn't have changed the way I feel about the character. So, I mean, overall, I thought it was fine. I wasn't. It never quite hooked me the way I want a show or a movie to hook me. But I was there for it. Cool stuff was happening. I was down with it. It was funny in places. I just think it needed more, and I'm convinced now that Favreau and Filoni have sort of exhausted their creativity. They're all any creativity or any interesting stuff they had to say about the Mandalorian. I think they've exhausted it. I don't think they have too much more in the tank. Maybe they should hand it off to somebody else. I don't know, but this was fine. And if you like Mandalorian, you like it. I also very briefly rewatched Sky High with my daughter because she wanted to watch it, which is a movie that was at its time I think should have been bigger than it was. It's cheesy as hell. It's very Disney
It is.
Channel, but I think it's ripe for a remake. I think they could do Sky High again, or they could just do Avengers Academy
Or
for
X-Men.
Marvel or X-Men Academy. So we'll see. I hear they're doing Strange Academy for Marvel. So if they do
Or
that,
that.
Sky High is basically that, and it's interesting. It came out around the time I think it's when Harry Potter was kind of a thing. The movies were kind of biggish. So it's interesting that it couldn't find its footing. It's fine. It's got some kind of affectations of the time period, but I think in the right hands it could be cool. Also watched two more movies. I'm watching a lot of movies. I watched The Marsh King's Daughter with Ben Mendelsohn and what's her name that plays Ray?
Daisy Ridley?
Yeah, Daisy Ridley. Yes, yes. Watched that. That was cool. It's basically about a guy that a terrible dad who had kidnapped a woman and had a baby. They had a baby and they raised the daughter, and she's got to grapple with the fact that her dad was horrible, and also when he escapes, now she's got to go deal with him. It's pretty good. Daisy Ridley, I've never been too sure of her acting ability, but she's all right. She's all right in it. Ben Mendelsohn is Ben
Yeah, but
Mendelsohn.
all right is pretty much
No,
word.
she's got her moments in it. There's some action portions of it. I mean, we know she can sell action. So there's some action parts of it, but I think for the most part she pulls off what they're going for. This is a movie that kind of got pushed by the wayside because of when it came out, and that it's not a high profile story. It's a story I can tell they didn't spend a ton of money for, and for good reason. But I mean, I think it's worth your time. Also, watch Speak No Evil with James McAvoy and why can't I say her name? Mackenzie. No, it's not Mackenzie. What is her? She played one of the Terminators in Terminator Dark Fate.
Yeah, I stopped watching after Terminator.
But she was also in *Halt and Catch Fire*. I never remember her name. Either way, this is a thriller about a couple that invites another couple and their kid to come visit, and then it goes all bad because the guy the guy who invites them over is terrible.
I watched the similar one, but it was about Christmas and nobody was terrible.
They invited over for Christmas, but nobody was there. Well,
Yeah.
this is terrible, and I'm gonna murder you all sort of way.
Oh
It's
no.
it's a fun little thriller, and I was watching it with somebody with a friend of mine, and when I was looking at her, I was like, ain't no this. I was like, this got to be a white people thing because ain't no way that there's no way black people are gonna just show up at somebody's house that they met like one time when they were on vacation. That's not we don't want to do that with people we've known for a while. We're not just gonna go out into the country. No, this is not a thing that happens. So I was like, this is definitely one of those what do you call it, white people shit movie. Because he spent the whole movie just being like, nah, it couldn't be me. I'd have been
Yeah.
gone. I'd have been gone. Shit. Anyway,
True, true.
good times were had by all. I did not read any comics or anything like that, or play video games, but I did do all that
I
stuff.
did.
So, that being said, that's all of our nerdy stuff we did this week. So I guess we're gonna do a little something before we get into the news, which is not much this week. We only got a couple things for the news, which is a fun little interaction that J.K. Simmons had at a Mets game that I thought was funny, and the was it the X-Men '97 trailer, season 2 trailer did drop. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna review Spider-Noir, the whole season. But before that, we're going to do a little nerd discussion because let me just say, uh, our our fellow nerds got problems. So, whoops, wrong one. There we go. Before we're going to talk about what is it? Nerds having a problem with the finale of the boys. But before that, we do have to do Polly has issues, where our resident comic book, aficionado talks about the comics she has been reading this week. So, Polly, what did you read this week?
This week was very interesting for me because, well, I read about my favorite character, which is Storm. And while reading Black Panther, of course, I got to the point where she and Black Panther got married, and now they have like their adventures together. They were a part of the Fantastic Four, and then they did have to deal with some stuff within the country, within Wakanda, and some X-Men stuff. They do a lot. So the first thing I read, I finished the Reginald Hudlin's run, the first one, and then I read X-Men Worlds Apart. I think you last week, yeah, you
Mm-hmm.
showed that you have the trade paperback of this story, and this is a small story about like Storm having to deal with Shadow King yet again because right every time you need a pretty annoying villain for Storm, it's always Shadow King. And this remind me, somebody posted on Threads, I think it was yesterday, that imagine like joining the Xavier school, and then they send you to fight Sabretooth
Right.
or something like that. And like these are ongoing beefs, and you don't want to get into those. Like if it's Sabretooth, let Wolverine deal with it. If it's Magneto, let Charlie deal with it. If it's Shadow King, of course it's Storm. But in this particular story, Storm, like Shadow King, he does what he hasn't done before. He attacks her. Well, he tried that, well, probably, but like he attacks her through people close to her. In particular, Black Panther and Scott Summers. So kind of trying to do it from different sides of her life, and she already has the issue where she's having problem choosing between being a Wakandan queen and being an X-Man, and she doesn't want to choose, and she thinks
Mm-hmm.
she can do both. And actually, she can do both. It's a manufactured conflict, but because we know, yes, she can rule something and still be an X-Man, no problem about that. But she has to like choose who she will save first and stuff like that. Pretty interesting stuff, not nothing extremely original because like Shadow King again, yeah, but a pretty good story, pretty good character growth and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Still, and it's about Storm, so what the hell?
I mean,
And
that's your
then
stuff.
yeah,
That's your
yeah,
character.
like yeah, it's definitely fun because it's about her, and Emma shows up, like Scott shows up, all of that is going on. Great, great fun. And after that, I read continued with Hudlin's Black Panther, and this is actually the part of the run where he introduces Shuri as the Black Panther,
Right.
because yeah, T'Challa gets attacked by Doom. I mean, you know, or
As it does. Yeah.
somebody who looks like Doom, because we know Doom is not that guy. Doom is actually very nice. Uh, or T'Challa was asking for it. I don't know. Either way, he's beaten so badly. Well, he actually like suffered from an explosion or something, but he's beaten so badly that he's on brink of death. So Storm has to go retrieve him from Limbo. And at the same time, she recommends Shuri for the role of Black Panther, and
Hmm.
Shuri um, goes. Well, actually, I think it's fine. If I wanted to spoil it, I think it's it's fine because this came out
Like
long
20 years
ago. So
ago.
Shuri,
This,
yeah, I'm good. The statute of limitation is like out by now. Anyway, Shuri, of course, yes, she does all the trials she has to do to become Black Panther, and she gets the heart-shaped herb. She eats it, and she has to go face the Panther God, but Panther God rejects her, so she can't be the Black Panther. So the country has no Black Panther. Charlie is dying, and Storm can't. Pretty much, she can't save him without dying herself, and that's a whole mess. But of course, they find a way out of that. It's all happy ending. It's a great story. I really enjoyed it, and I really like that there is an opportunity for Black Panther, for T'Challa to become somebody else and to
hmm.
like focus on other things. And Shuri can be the Black Panther and the Queen of Wakanda, like
Right.
Queen Regent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are great stories, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying this read through, and I can't wait. Like I don't wanna. It's kind of complicated. I don't want to get to the part where Black Panther and Storm get a divorce, or an annulment. Actually, they never divorced. Uh, but at the same time, I'm really excited to find out what happens next. And I know that I've read Intergalactic Empire of Wakanda, read that part, but I'm like excited to fill in the blanks and get all the storylines. But I don't want them to break up, or like I want them to get back together. I don't know, do something, Marvel, just get them back together and remove Troll from Storm's, Black Book forever. I don't
No,
like him.
I think the thing is that it was put together by black creators, and I think it was did who separated them? Didn't Ta-Nehisi Coates separate them, or was that before
No, it was done during Avengers versus X-Men, and I think that it was like God, wasn't Bendis writing it?
Oh, so again, the black folks put them together.
I don't remember.
But I think they came together. This and by the way, this is one of Hudlin's more inspired moves. I think of taking the two most well known black characters in Marvel Comics and having a marriage that literally combined two of the most powerful factions on Marvel's Earth. You know, because the idea of a king marrying for love is ridiculous. A king marrying for political ties makes sense. And Storm could not. Storm is as close to a queen of the mutants as you're gonna get. Fuck whatever Emma got to say. She's and now
No,
she's
no,
a
no. Emma's good. She never wanted to be the Queen of
but
Mutants.
like if you want to say somebody who represents or who would be looked at that way, Storm's about as close as you're gonna get, right? She really doesn't have much in the way of negativity related to her like Jean does. But if you want to shore up those ties, you could do way worse. Because remember, there was the whole who is T'Challa going to marry thing, right? There was that whole world tour of who's T'Challa going to get with. leading up to like one of the smartest moves. So it's a good power couple. We love a power couple. But I don't think they'll put them
Well,
back
Marvel
together.
doesn't apparently.
I don't think we'll see them back together again for the same reason MJ and Peter can't be together. They,
Well, I we last week we actually talked about it, and there is a way to put them back together. There is a way to do it and not lose anything. And you know what? Now reading uh they about like their relationship as an adult, and from my current perspective, I don't know what people didn't like. The people maybe I understand that they didn't like that it all happened pretty fast,
right.
and I understand that some of them didn't like that Storm was mostly absent from the X-Men stories. But as a result, we got like a pretty good story because in Black Panther, the relationship is good, and they don't overshadow each other. Actually, they do maintain that balance that we spoke about,
Mm-hmm.
and they work together perfectly, and they help each other, and they balance each other out, and it works. So everyone who complained, you're stupid. Everyone who doesn't want them together, you're wrong.
Yeah, I kind of, I kind of look at it as they. A lot of people were complaining about this back then too. They're like saying that how T'Challa was like kind of a Marty Stew. He's often presented as the guy that knows the most, that sees the most, he's the richest. I'm like, oh, so you mean Batman? So that's what we're talking about. So they had a problem with that too, and then joining him up with Storm, people like, there's no problems with the relationship or anything like that. Um, and so there was always chafing against it, but I loved it. So that was again the Hudlin era was kind of my era, and I really enjoyed what he did there. So, well, I can't wait to see see what you think about them breaking them up. I'm sure.
I remember that. I remember that story. I remember that in Avengers vs. X-Men. I did not love that then. I'm not gonna love that now. I'm gonna still campaign for Marvel to get them back together because, like, why can't we have nice things? Fans of Rogue and Gambit have nice things that they probably like. Fans of like Sue and Reed
they're
cringe
gonna
for some
bring back.
reason.
They're gonna bring back Monica. There you go.
Ugh,
Or
God no.
Queen Divine
Let the woman
Queen Divine
queen in peace.
Justice. Queen Divine Justice one day.
Ah, she was cool. She was cool.
They're never gonna bring her back because the people don't know. I don't think anyone's written Queen Divine Justice since Priest. I,
She is actually the Dora we need now.
yeah.
She would be perfect. Like, this is her time. If anyone could start a revolution, that's her.
Yeah, that one day, but not anytime soon, I think. Well, that's all of Polly's comics for the week, which means we gotta talk. We gotta do some discussion. We're gonna try to make this a weekly thing, a nerd discussion. Try to get deeper on a particular issue, that's not news related. This week, weird ass nerds on the internet can't just accept that shit didn't work out. That like their little fan fiction in their head didn't play out the way they wanted, and the internet lets people whine about stuff. Okay, fine, it's the internet, whatever. But we got these weird ass Homelander stands that we know exist because they've been really weird for the last few years, um, crying about the finale. Um, which I'm like, were we watching the same show? I feel like they telegraphed. Like, if you started watching this show in season one, you had to be thinking the end game is killing Homelander. Because Butcher said his point was to kill Homelander. He has never wavered from that from season one until season 5. There was at no point did he say, you know what, maybe we should let him live. No. I think the only time he sort of took his foot off the pedal was for Ryan's sake. Other than that, this has been fuck Homelander from day one. So, how are you surprised by the way this goes? Also, why are you standing for Homelander? What? Again, are we watching the same show?
I'm afraid, yeah.
It's these people. So okay, if they were just being weirdos online, I will dunk on them for sure. But I'm just like, fine, whatever. But in this day and age, now we have technology to turn people's horrible, stupid, inane fan fiction into reality. So we have, I've seen one particularly of some guy. Apparently, he does this. He saves the villains, but he saved Homelander from Butcher, which is it's some Russian guy. So you know what, you're gonna have to answer for this guy. I looked at his profile. It's some guy in Russia. He inserts himself into these things and saves the villains, which let me say, in Putin's Russia makes sense, I guess, but it's really
Well,
weird.
they were the allies.
Yeah, it's very weird, but also like telling of like people be I say people be telling on themselves that so many like how many people were like they shouldn't have killed him. They should have like depowered him and make him live as like a regular person. Um,
Oh,
which
they did.
which by the yeah he did live as a regular person that got dealt with. But I was like, okay,
Yeah.
fine. That's because I was thinking, yeah, if he were arrested, if they depowered him and arrested him and took him to trial, I don't want him executed because I don't believe in state. I don't believe in the death penalty for that the state should be deciding who lives and who dies. But as a matter of catharsis, and also Butcher is clearly he's a bad guy doing good things. He was never gonna let the guy live. So like, what were y'all again? What were y'all watching? But it's weird that y'all are standing for keeping this guy alive. Or what's worse, they were like, he should have escaped and then followed through on his promise to like burn the earth to the ground. Why? Why is that what you want to see? I got more, but like, so I tell you, sometimes being a fan of this genre is painful, and also it's just annoying. I can't believe I'm sharing space with these fucking weirdos. Anyway, what say you?
Well, I have the same question you do. Like, what the hell were these people watching, and what's wrong with them that they want this guy particularly to be saved? I don't understand that. Like, I don't want him to be saved. I think that he got what he deserved. I think that what he deserved actually was death, and what he deserved was to be exposed like that, like begging and whining, and because that's who he is. That he's pathetic, and this pathetic guy got some power, and like just because of that, he was scaring and terrifying and killing people everywhere. So yeah, he got what he deserved. He deserved to be exposed as pathetic. He deserved to die like that. I don't see a problem with that, and I don't understand why people see a problem with that. In this case, but they do cheer for Punisher, because Punisher essentially does the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
When the person could have lived and could have maybe redeemed himself, or maybe like went ahead with their life, he kills them. So
Yep. Well, you know why.
why? And I think
You
that the
you know
same
why.
people who cheer for Punisher are kind of the same. Like many of them are the same people who share this opinion. I think that, yeah,
What?
maybe I don't understand something. Maybe they don't understand something. I kind of think that they don't understand something.
Oh,
Like
I think they
they
do.
probably
I think they
villains.
yeah, I think they do. There's a reason for it, even if they won't articulate it themselves. But first of all, Homelander was slightly more humanized because we got to see the ins and outs of his day to day life throughout the series. Versus some guy that the Punisher shoots is just a dude, just some guy we don't know anything about it. All we know is he's a goon, right? So the amount of ability to humanize and empathize with Homelander's greater, just because we're more privy to what's going on with them. Um, also,
Don't think that at any point there is like any place, any point in his whole history where you would sympathize with him.
Well, they've said
I
like
just find it weird.
well, they said like, well, his upbringing, because he was born and raised in a lab and tested on relentlessly and harmed and all, and he didn't really have any dad, he didn't have a family figures or anything like that. So I get that. I mean, yeah, cool. Shit happened to
Hardly an excuse.
Shit happened to Jeffrey Dahmer too. Okay, well, I get it, but okay. But there's also the fact that I think some of them see some of themselves in Homelander. Um, also, a white dude with a powerful white dude gets a lot more consideration when it comes to comeuppance and punishment than other people do. I guarantee you, if Homelander was black, we wouldn't even be talking about this. It would not. If Homelander were, first of all, if Homelander were black, he couldn't have done, even a quarter of the shit that he did in the series, no matter what kind of superpowers he had. Second of all, there wouldn't be this much empathy and sympathy for him. Look, I sympathize. Hey, he had a shitty upbringing. He had no choice but to be horrible because of the way he was raised. Like they literally intentionally gave him a crippling, social, psychological, mental problem to want to please people and to never, they built that into him so that they could control him, and it turned him into like this terrible, psychopathic kid that turned into a psychopathic adult who once he was rewarded for being terrible, kept leaning into it but never was satisfied. I get that. But this whole idea that he should have been let loose to go, raise the country and like have millions of people's blood on his hands and all this other stuff that he promised to do is, I don't understand why y'all want to see that. Because that, to me, that's just violence for the sake of titillation. It has nothing to do with fixing the story.
See, that's exactly the problem I have with this extra violence shows. Because at some point I start wondering, just why do you want to see the violence so much?
Yeah.
Is it because you think that it makes the story richer, or is it because it's weirdly exciting for you? And if it's the latter, then maybe you should, like, I don't know, seek help for it, because it's not right.
It's really
That is not okay.
I suspect these people also were like, thought that was it Superman Dawn? Was it Dawn of Justice? Or not Superman. What was it called? Man of Steel. Not Dawn. That's Batman. Batman v Superman. Dawn of Justice. No, I'm thinking Man of Steel. I think they think the dopest part of Man of Steel was when Zod was wrecking Metropolis and killing millions of people, or thousands of people.
And these are the same people who complained that Superman saved the squirrel.
Yeah,
was upset about the giant kaiju not being saved and sent somewhere.
Yeah, it's like this weird, like, okay, y'all wanted to see Homelander follow through, and then they have to stop him. All right, well, how does that fit? How does that make the story better? Again, it's just a titillating scene. It doesn't actually resolve the problem or resolve the story. If you wanted him to be depowered and then carted off to jail, I could see that. And if this was, the government taking him out, sure, he needs to be brought to justice. But this was a one man versus one man thing, and it had nothing to do with doing the right thing. And they made it clear, Butcher wasn't there to do the right thing. He was there for revenge. It just so happened his revenge was in line with doing the right thing. That's just it. And another thing y'all need, someone pointed out, putting him in prison for the rest of his life doesn't mean he'll never get V again. Because they know for sure that he can take V and become super powerful, right? So there's no reason for that. There's no reason for that to suspect that he wouldn't or couldn't at some point become empowered again. And now you got the same damn problem. So I mean, I don't love the idea of murdering people with the intention of, preventing future shit that they do. But I mean, if
If
Hitler,
they already done this shit,
yeah, he's already done it. He's promised it. I mean,
sometimes it is just a logical next step.
I feel pretty strongly that if Hitler were like brought, captured alive, and there was any potential to freaking, actually for him to rise up again and do the same shit again, they just execute him. That I mean,
I
there's
mean,
no,
he
yeah,
still has sympathizers.
yeah. I mean, even now, like they would just execute him. And in fact, that may be the worst thing that happened with him killing himself is we didn't have footage of him begging like a bitch, like Homelander on to just replay for everyone every time they start doing their little Roman salutes.
There is another problem though. They did, like people who first discovered his bunker, they didn't have phones
Yeah,
to record him begging.
we should go back in time. If there's a time machine, we should go back in time with cell phone video. But anyway, I think you guys like you Homelander stands are weird in the first damn place. Trying to save him is stupid as hell and weird, and y'all are just telling on yourselves. I mean, but there's a Venn diagram of Homelander stands and Trump stands, and it's a circle. So anyway, uh, we'll come back next week. We will talk about more interesting little nerd
Creepy
discussions
people.
like this. Yeah, probably more than likely.
More weirdos.
We got a little bit of news before we get into our review. Oh, this was just a fun little thing. I saw this. I don't know why this happened, but J.K. Simmons was at a Mets game. A New York, that's baseball, but the New York Mets baseball game. And they had a cool little thing going on. I don't know if you saw this video, but it was he was sitting there and they had, whenever there's celebrities in the crowd, they'll have like the cameraman go up and be like, and they'll be like, hey, whatever. And right behind him was a person dressed up as Spider-Man with a Daily Bugle. Or is it New York? No, it's a Daily Bugle newspaper, and it's Spider-Man, and they have like a little fun little interaction. First of all, whoever thought of this, y'all know what you're doing. You know what you're playing. You know what you got on your hands. And J.K. Simmons he's fully game for this. He even does. He's like, and he does. Why? I wish they could have got him saying Parker. That would have been even better. Or you're a menace or something like that. It's a fun little interaction. Everybody gets the joke because it's Spider-Man, obviously. And also a shout out to the GOAT J.K. Simmons for just like everybody knows him. Everyone loves to see him when he shows up in things. I just thought this was funny. And I wanted to share it with y'all. What did you think? What do you think about this little thing?
It's great. I was like it when I don't particularly like when actors distance themselves from their roles, they iconic roles, too much, and they just don't want to talk about it and don't want to recognize it or acknowledge it. It's just not weird to me, but like even if you're embarrassed about it, but it's still a fan favorite, I mean, lean into it. It's cool, I think. So I do appreciate when people, when actors in particular do that. They acknowledge their roles and acknowledge their fans. That's
Yeah.
cool.
and further to the point, everyone, like I said, everyone knows Spider-Man. This is in New York. Spider-Man's, one of the most famous
Home
fiction.
base of
Yeah,
operations.
yeah, one of the most famous fictional people from New York. Everyone loves the Spider-Man movies. It's just it's a cool, smart little bit of promotion. I don't even know if he's promoting anything, but it's a fun little interaction. But I want them to take it another step further. I want them to have. I want the New York MTA, the Mass Transit Authority, or something like that. The people that do the subway. I want them to take him down to the subway and have somebody dressed up as Mark down there. That if they could do that and have them, stand by one of the subway trains, I would love that so much.
I don't think people in the on the subway train would like that.
Or
I'd be worried.
Or maybe the the tourism board of Nepal could, kind of bring them up to one of the high mountains up there, and they could recreate the think Mark, they could redo that one. I'd be with that. You think that would drive tourism? Maybe this is where
I think that Nepal is good on tourism.
yeah, probably.
Yeah, I think they're fine with it.
Yeah. Anyway, that was fun stuff. I like to see it. Um, other bit of news: X-Men '97 season 2 trailer dropped a couple days
Yes.
ago. And my question is, are we gonna experience peak again? Like, I know technically peak is supposed to be the highest, but I like to think of X-Men '97 may be like the Himalayas. Like there's just so many high peaks in there that you just get peak every season. We got this trailer. A lot of shit is going on in it. Like, if you're eagle-eyed, you catch a lot of stuff. If you're knowledgeable about X-Men, more knowledgeable than me, you probably caught a ton of stuff. There's some things I didn't even really understand until people mention them, and I still don't because I don't read enough. Um, but this is their. Remember how X-Men '97, the first season, covered like so many story arcs? Like,
Mhm.
in the comics were major story arcs, and they're like, we'll give you one episode, maybe two, to get through this. Same deal here. There are about four or so major story arcs that look like they're gonna be covered here. Um, they're scattered across time. There's we're getting the replacement X. But it looks like new. Am I wrong? Did I see new X-Men in there? I saw Scott and Jean wearing the new X-Men, the Grant Morrison new X-Men jackets.
Yeah.
But also the Generation X. Did I see
Generation
Generation?
X,
I
yeah.
saw Generation X in there. We saw someone said Exodus. I'm not really clear on who Exodus is.
He was actually in season 1.
Okay,
We
so
saw
this is
him in season
Exodus.
1. He was on Genosha.
So we get Exodus again. Danger. It looks like they said Danger is going to be in
Danger,
this.
yeah.
Obviously,
Penance.
yeah. Yes. Obviously, Apocalypse is a major aspect in the past, present, and future. And we look like we're getting Nate Summers and Cable, Nate Summers, X Factor. It's a lot. Like, there's a lot thrown in there. And Archangel's coming back. Probably they buried it, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna get Remy. We're gonna get Gambit back as Apocalypse's Horseman of Death. So there's like so much shit going on in this. And of course, we get shout outs to classic covers like the Wolverine thing. Lots of stuff going on in this. I I was a bit overwhelmed by stuff. Even watching it twice, I was like, "This is a lot. There's a lot of stuff going on here."
I only watched it once. I only watched it once because I didn't want to spoil too much for myself. I just want to be excited, but I don't want to know anything ahead of time, and it's really hard.
But how did you feel about the trailer?
Awesome. I mean, I only have like one. I know it's gonna be amazing. I know it's gonna be like super super cool because, well, that's what X-Men are. And every time I see them on screen, regardless of like what is happening, I'm always excited. And I think I'm only worried about one tiny thing. It's just that since we had the season was written before, we know that, but it was still produced after departure of Birdemeier. And we know that like he is in many ways the reason the first season was what it is, but I do wonder if the second season is going to be that relevant. So technically it can be and it should be, but will it be? I don't know, because the storylines aren't necessarily like similarly relevant as those from season 1, but they still can be. I don't know. I'm excited at the same time, a little bit scared, but that's X-Men.
Yeah, I try not to think too closely about that, but yeah, Bo DeMaio did have, I think, before he was fired, did complete his work on
Yeah.
season 2. I
Season
believe I
two.
believe
Yeah.
he wrote, whatever, or him and his writer's room wrote season 2. So we are gonna get it. That I think we're gonna get something very similar.
But
Um,
still, like it could be rewritten. It could be, and we wouldn't know about that.
yeah,
The dialogues again. I worry about the dialogues too because those dialogues in season one were just epic and unforgettable. Mm, I don't know. You know what? And I know that like they have season three and season four.
yeah,
Green lighted them. So
yeah.
well, it's still super exciting and it looks so good. It looks so like these colors and these images. I hope they're gonna release another book like with art art book
Right.
for season two because I so wanna buy it. I have one for season
We
one
just
over
we just,
there and
yeah, we just
oh
need the
good.
picture of Scott and Jean with her
Oh yeah.
what was it, the psionic Wolverine claws. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you didn't have to do that all that. That now you just gonna make Scott gonna be looking at you sideways. um
Oh, isn't he always like? I mean, he is all that after the whole Madeline thing, and like abandoning his child after he said specifically that he won't do that, and probably Emma. Oh my God, I'm hoping to see more Emma. I'm hoping to see like finally them get together.
yeah. It will be interesting to see. I do like the fact that they have greenlit season 3 and 4. Season 3 is well into production. Like they're trying to get one season out per year.
Yeah.
My only question is, y'all, if you're gonna be doing if you're gonna do like 4 major storylines out of the comics per season, y'all gonna get caught up to the present really fast. Cause like you gotta
Oh yeah.
remember, major storylines like that only are about one or two per year. Are we gonna be seeing?
Well, they can focus on smaller stuff then and like side teams.
Yeah,
They have like kid teams, New Mutants. We still haven't seen New Mutants. We still haven't seen Academy X. And
yeah,
I would love to see that. But we did see some kids. Like I think
yeah. We
French
saw
Inquirer
Kid.
was there.
Yeah. So he was.
Yeah.
We saw Chamber. I'm trying to remember the
Hmm.
other. I definitely remember seeing Chamber.
Glob,
Yeah,
of
there. So
course.
they have some of the Generation X people in there.
Hmm.
So it should be interesting, especially if they introduce like the Phalanx or who was I'm trying to remember another one from the night another one of the major '90s storylines before you get to the Academy X and Decimation and all that stuff. That mean if they ever get to Decimation, that'll be something. House of M.
Yeah.
If they ever do House of M, whew,
Hmm.
please let's do House of
But
M.
first, they would need to properly introduce Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver.
Yeah, so far we've only seen them as a shadow, so it's
Yeah.
entirely possible. This is a good trailer. Like I don't want to watch anything else. I'm not gonna watch anything else. This is July 1st, so we're 5 weeks,
Soon, it's
like
soon.
5 weeks away. It's almost here, so we're gonna be eating good this summer for sure. So we'll
Oh
be
yeah.
check. Well, of course, we're gonna be checking out and reviewing
Superhero summer.
exactly, and we're gonna review those episodes as they come out. So you guys come back to the channel for that. Um, Speaking of reviewing, uh, the end of superhero spring is marked by the release of Spider-Noir. This is a show based upon the Spider-Man Noir character. This was a comic book first. He was a very cool and interesting major character in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, an alternate universe Spider-Man from a 1930s, 1920s, 1930s New York, and he's in a top hat. He was not a top hat, a fedora,
Fedora
all black, and he's a hard
and a
boiled.
coat.
Yeah, in the comics he's a reporter, but in this show he's a hard boiled, noir detective, and in the show he's old. He was young. He was younger when some stuff happened, and now he's just kind of like It almost makes me think of Old Man Logan, but not quite that far gone. A very cool character. Like if you watch Spider Verse, he's in all black and white, and there's a very specific aesthetic to him. And he's voiced by Nicolas Cage. So they did the smart thing, and they got Nicolas Cage to come be actual live action Ben Riley. Um, this show, I remember when they announced it, I was like, this is a choice. I'm not mad at the choice because I really like Spider-Man Noir the comic. I really like that, right? So I was like, this is a choice. Then they said Nick Cage, and I was like, well, that makes sense, and that's kind of genius. And then they were like, it's going to be in all black and white, and I was like, all right, okay, now you got me. And they're like, also, it's going to be like a 30s detective thing. And I was like, y'all stop. I'm already in the house. I'm in my seat with my popcorn and my tea. You don't have to keep selling this to me. Um, and it promised a certain thing to me, and I think it pretty much delivered it. Especially that first episode. That first episode is the kind of the why are you here and why should you stay here statement, and it told me everything. Um, the show takes its opportunity to do something that I love, which is to reach into the toy chest and pull out anything other than the Green Goblin, and anything other than Dr. Octopus, and anything other than Wilson Fisk. I was like, oh, you guys remember y'all have so many other characters. Okay, it's nice to know you guys are convinced that you can do Spider-Man stories without those three. Cool. They bring in Silvermane. We have a version of Black Cat that's not really the version you're thinking of, and actual superpowered bad guys in the form of Sandman, in the form of Tombstone, and I forget Megawatt was the other guy, and then I forget the name. Was it Molten Man? Was which you know?
Mm.
So we get to see these characters that don't normally, if besides Sandman, don't normally get a whole lot of screen time. And in fact, is this not the first live action Black Cat we've ever seen? I think that's right.
No, I mean we saw in the Amazing Spider-Man, Felicia Hardy. We saw her. She was played by Felicity Jones.
Okay. So the second one, and this, I would even say this is not, doesn't really count either. Just name only.
Well, she was supposed to probably be the Black Cat in the third movie, but we never got the third movie.
Right. I think, I mean, I have lots more. I have lots more thoughts on this. My captions is Spider-Noir is a rare Sony Spidey win. Considering what's been happening with the
Oh yeah,
Spider-Man movies, it's a win.
it ain't Madam Web.
Yeah, it's definitely not
It
that.
ain't
It's,
Madam Web.
I mean, it can't aspire to those heights, I guess, or
No,
depths.
yeah.
But yeah, this is a win, and for several reasons I will let you guys know in a minute. But I do want to hear what you have to say about this. You literally just finished watching this, so what did you think?
Yeah, I did. I actually really loved it because remember when we discussed it after the trailer, and I said that I hope that they managed to lean into that aesthetic enough to probably make it a little campy, like lean into all the stereotypes, and they did just that, and they did it well. And actually, I don't know what happened with the black and white thing because I think that there is you're supposed to switch it or something on Amazon. So I don't know.
Right.
I just turned off the color on my TV for that. I don't know if that worked as it was meant to, but it looked good. I really loved these shots. Every shot, you know that it is meant to be watched in black and white because the shots look gorgeous in black and white, and it also gave decent, really good explanations actually to how the characters got superpowers. I really like that bit, and to why the portrayal of Nicolas Cage is the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
it kind of was a brilliant, inspired idea. I don't know who wrote this, who came up with this, but there was some great, great ideas in there.
Right.
Loved the character of Janet. What was her name,
Yes. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
His secretary. Yes, amazing character. And obviously with Robbie and the whole
Oh
team, the whole
man. Yeah.
gang. Yeah, amazing portrayal, amazing character work, and great dynamic between them. And what I especially loved is that it did not only take all those, tropes and all those character archetypes that we know from noir movies and from that whole era of movies and that genre. And it did lean into them, and it did even go as far as to end it as one of those movies, because it had a Casablanca ending.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yep.
was like literally what I thought was those
Exactly. No,
last shots of Casablanca, and it was one of my favorite movies, by the way. So I really loved it.
that's
Yeah.
cool. No, that you're 110% on point here. Um, so there's something like I one of the things I like is that period accuracy, not playing it up, but just like saying, hey, this is what was this is the 30s in New York. There's going to be some things that we need to reflect the real, because like a lot of these like Batman Cape Crusader is one of it's to me it's a great show, but one of its egregious faults to me is that it says, hey, this Art Deco 1940s, 30s, 40s look, but let's ignore the world that created it, right? Because the world that aesthetic and everything came out of a particular culture, and that culture was formed, by the previous things that happened, and it chooses to pretend that racial things aren't real, right? And I love Batman Cape Crusader. I think it's a great cartoon, a great superhero show, but it pretends like none of that shit was real, right? This show says this is not a this is not a primary prominent part of the story. It just is. It's the backdrop. And the backdrop is in the 30s there was racial shit. So when we see a whites only sign, right? Or white entrance sign, or we see, there are racial things in there, and that matters. People, when I posted about this, people wanted to be like, you're just bringing up race for no reason. No, there's a reason. It's fucking 1930 something, and race was a real deal. Even in up north, where supposedly racial tensions weren't as bad. That's bullshit. We know that. There's a fucking scene in the whole in the show where Robbie has to go to Harlem, and he gets on the subway, and you watch the progression of people on the subway train as he goes from where he lives to Harlem. He goes from, well, technically, I don't even know it's where he lives, but he goes from Ben's, office to Harlem, and it changes, and what it looks like, what people look like changes. So that, like, I was like, thank God you guys don't pretend like race isn't a thing in this. For like Captain America, the Captain America movie sort of kind of acted like it wasn't real. And I mean, just keeping it real, the MCU was bad about that. That being said, that wasn't a primary thing. I just thought it was good. Um, Performances great. Brendan Gleeson got to use his regular accent, or maybe probably a played up version of it because he's Irish. But he normally we hear him just like an American accent or maybe a British accent. He got to just be Irish, and I think his presence throughout scenes, it's just such a, he has the same, but it's not quite the same, but a very similar presence as D'Onofrio as Fisk in any scene he's in. But he's a bit more of a personable, I think, less gruff, more personable version of Fisk, and all for the better. He's a killer, but he's trying, like throughout the show, he's trying to just be like, look, I don't want to have to kill you, but I will. But why don't we do something else besides me having to kill you? And he's very good at it. The way he plays off of basically everybody is pretty great. Um, What's Lee Jun Lee, who we saw in Sinners. If that's probably the first time I remember seeing her in anything. She's beautiful. She's captivating. She can sing. She's very dramatic. And she channels that kind of uh 30s 40s femme fatale energy. Kind of like you mentioned Casablanca. I'm thinking the Bogart femme fatale that comes in and starts the story rolling. She's very much channeling that energy. I think she's great at
I
it.
don't think that that's the character. I would think like more. God,
You
John
think
Crawford. I think
yeah, that it could be that. What I mean is like the
because
character
it's definitely it's not. Was it Grace Kelly in
she's definitely
Casablanca?
the character who's her
Oh,
look her
Ingrid Bergman.
yeah
Yeah.
her looks and her personality make the detective make mistakes because he doesn't realize like what she's on about. He's trying to his his good sense is overwhelmed by the fact that she's attractive and she's kind of playing him. She's
Yeah,
really
but she's also like she has her own plans in the back of her
hmm
mind. That's the whole thing. She's playing him,
right.
and Casablanca is not like that. It's a
Right.
little bit
Well,
different.
what I do like is that this is very much a period piece, and so like the all the characters are sort of their speech patterns, how they their speech patterns, their turns of phrases, even how they look, how they walk, all of this stuff, how they interact is all based on what at least maybe a caricature of what we think of that time. And so all of the characters are sort of leaning into it. Um, Nick Cage, he's hamming it up, and people be like, he's just doing too much, and I'm like, no, he's doing it just exactly right. Because if you know the character from Spider Verse, right, his whole thing was an over the top 40s version or 30s version of some kind of like private eye. And so he dials it back a bit here, but adds a lot more humanity to the character. But he still is saying silly because some shit that sounds silly as hell. And he's affecting a certain like, yeah, see, that sort of Bugsy Malone shit. But it's not off putting. It's very fun. Like it's very enduring and very fun. And also Ben Riley's just kind of a fucking wreck. He's just kind of he is just kind of a wreck, and for good reason. Like he's got a tragedy that's sort of been weighing over him, and
Probably
instead,
his canon event.
yeah, his canon event makes him worse. It doesn't make him better. It doesn't give him great power responsibility. Great responsibility with great power. So, but he's just kind of he's a kind of a bit of a not schlubby, but you know what I'm saying, private eye that he's good at his job, but he's just like he's in his cups all the time. It's a really fun characterization, and more importantly, he's got the old Parker look, and he got the Parker mouth because the motherfucker cannot. He don't know how to like keep his fucking mouth. He don't know how to regulate his mouth when he's in a spot. It's really
But
fun.
did we get like we remember that he changed his name. Did we get his original name mentioned?
I don't think they ever said what his name was.
Yeah.
And I knew the reason why because I knew the reason why he changed his name, and that's the reason why they never put two and two together about
Yeah, yeah.
who the spider was.
Mm.
But he plays both the spider. I mean, obviously a stuntman plays the spider, um, and he plays Ben Riley. His alter ego. I think he's actually really great. There's a few times where most of the time he keeps the Nick Cage under in a cage, if you will. It's there, but he doesn't let it get too far. But there's a couple times where he's just like, "Nah, I'm gonna Nick Cage it," and I was like, "I'm not mad about that. You've been so restrained this whole time. You should just go ahead and do your thing." Really, really loved him as that. Um, but my favorite, I mean, all of the other guys, like Jack Houston plays Sandman. He's quite good. I don't think they give him as much as they should. Um, I forget the name of the guy that plays Megawatt. Loved him. I love the electric guy. Loved him. He's what a pontificating, you know, psychopath. He's so good. He's very good though. I love him just quoting Shakespeare and shit. Very nice. I think Lonnie Lincoln, I forget what's the guy's name. I had this pulled up too. I was trying. I was pretending like I was gonna be prepared, y'all. Let me see. I know I pulled it up. Let me see. But he's a British actor though. I don't remember his
Mm,
name, but he's good. I quite like him. But to me, oh, and also the woman that played the secretary Janet, great. Like that's the sort of character that kind of like schlub like uh Ben Riley needs to kind of keep his dumbass on track. She's so great. I really liked her character. I liked her from the first time we saw her. Um, I like the little kid. One of the pseudo Baker Street irregulars. I liked him. He's a funny little kid. They're playing tropey kind of like archetype characters, and it's fine. They're fun. They're saying funny things. They're kind of roasting being a little bit here and there. But I think to me, the standout character was Lamorne Morris's Robbie Robertson. I think he's probably the best character in the whole show. Now maybe that's just my personal preference. I think he's outstanding. Um, every scene he's in is better because he's in it. Every scene where he's the lead is just great. Like he leads a scene, and everything he does is I believe everything he's doing. Um, all of his character choices make sense to me because of the way Lamorne Morris is playing him, and I think he elevate like if you can elevate a Nick Cage performance, he elevates a Nick Cage performance by being a good scene partner with him. Uh, I didn't even know what to expect out of his character because I like Robbie Robertson in the comics, but he's usually just kind of like a dad figure or something like that. He's rarely like featured. And the fact is that he got to like feature in many scenes. Like he had a whole little storyline about trying being on the outs because the Spider retired. And the only reason why he had a career in the first place was the Spider. And he's been like, he's been on down and out, but trying to hustle to get back in the game. And so he has this whole storyline of how he gets back into the game, and his character journey is satisfying. And he does heroic shit. He's a sounding board. He kicks he kicks Ben Riley in the butt to get him moving. Right? He's a good investigator. Like honestly, he should have his own fucking movie or his own show, or you know what I'm saying? Because of how much he contributed to the show. Really loved him. Lamorne Morris, I've always liked him as an actor, but like, god damn it, give him a lead in something. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, I can keep going. We can. I guess we talk spoilers now.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, probably the first thing that you notice, like after having watched the whole eight, was it eight
8 episodes,
episodes?
yeah.
Yeah, the first thing I noticed is that it's kind of becoming a trend for Spider-Man to like make both Tombstone and probably Sandman this like more tragic characters who are striving to be better. And I don't know, I haven't read a lot of Spider-Man comics, so I can't say like what's the difference between the original origin stories and this. I imagine that like huge difference, but it's interesting. It's really they made all the interesting choices for the characters they had to work with, and I really appreciate that because it seemed like an original story, and in many ways it seemed like a Batman story. It had a really Batman feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
But
Remember they even had kind of like a look up at him that was very much like Batman the animated series.
yeah, yeah. And the credits in the beginning of the show also kind of like had a feel, and that was a good choice. like I said, they leaned into all the right things, all the things that we wanted to see. And story-wise, it was great. It was kind of like all of these classic stories that you used to classic noir stories. And again, that worked well because they didn't try to invent anything new. They didn't try to like outsmart everyone, but they delivered a good, solid mystery of like what happened, why it happened, and revealed everything in the
Hmm.
proper time. Really good pacing, by the way, because I really love the slow pacing and with
Oh,
enough action, but also with like character development.
I think maybe
Really
we're
great.
gonna slightly disagree. I did like the show quite a bit. I do feel like it's a bit stretched out. I think you shave about a one episode off of it. I think it runs a little tighter. I'm not mad what we got, not at all, because like most, like it's a little light on spider action too, but I'm not mad about that either. Because I don't think that this show is only about half of a spider show, and the rest of it is a detective show. I'm not mad about that, but I think it's a little stretched out. um, I do like the origin story that they gave for like the how
The
he got his.
superpowered people.
I do think it's weird that Germans are always the reason why shit is happening. It's
I had the same
I
thought,
was like, why?
but I
I was
think
like
that
that.
like it has to do with human experimentations during World War II,
Yeah,
and that kind of like stuck with people, so that as a go-to ideas. I mean, not that we can be sure that like Americans or Russians or like China don't experiment on people and try to do something or come up with something as we speak. So I don't think that there is like a good country that doesn't do it and
yeah,
the bad country that does do it all the time. But yeah, well, they worked with what they had. They World
yeah.
War One probably that kind of like was the natural progression. 'Cause they couldn't exactly take America and pretend
They,
that America
yeah,
experimented on
they
people,
couldn't have
even though we
not.
know it probably
Yeah,
did.
they couldn't have Nazis. They're like, oh, Nazis ain't here yet.
Yeah.
So somehow Germans did it. It was interesting. Like I had to be like, I was like, what the fuck y'all know about DNA? But they knew about DNA and genetics. There was all that stuff. All this stuff was going on. I always associate DNA with like Watson and Crick, but that's only the double helix that they discovered. That wasn't DNA itself. They knew about that before. So I mean, once I was like, okay, this all makes some sense. Um, why? They tied it all together. It's everyone in the same place at the same time, basically. Even though
Mm.
these are all people there were so many people, they were in the same place at the same time. They didn't realize that they were all connected until they got back. Um, there was some, and the whole idea about the one guy who got experimented on who was aging really fast, that was interesting. For a change, the scientists experimenting on them wasn't trying to fucking turn them into weapons, but was actually trying to help. I was like, okay. And of course, it's a woman scientist that's trying to help. She's not trying to turn them into weapons. I was like, beautiful. I also like that this show has it has some modern sensibilities, and it maps some of it onto the past, but really in a way that I think enhances the characters. Like for instance, Kat actually has a whole monologue, a bit of a diatribe against Silvermane. That sounds like it would have been made by a woman, in the last 40 or 30 or 40 years, which is not bad. I'm not saying that as a bad thing, but she really is just articulating like, to me, I'm just like a showpiece in your thing, and I'm an actual person with thoughts and feelings and goals, and that's why I fucking tried to have you killed, because I was taking the courage to take control of my life, and I knew you wouldn't let me have it. I was like, there you go. That because if this would have been written in the 30s and 40s, she wouldn't have said all that extra stuff. She would have just been like, yes, I tried to have you killed because I want to be with my man. That that was part of the reason. That wasn't they would have said literally, I wanted us to be free because I want to be with my man. That would have been what she said in the 30s or 40s. Now she's saying, no, I needed to be free of you, and I knew you would never let me be free. That's why it was very. I like that. There, some of the modern sensibilities, like you know, some of the racial stuff and everything. I like that they sort of shine a light without necessarily taking away from the period accuracy. Which also, by the way, if y'all are, if any of y'all are like catching on any of this stuff, just remember this is a show about a dude that can fucking shoot webs out of his wrists, swings around in a mask and a fedora, and fights a guy that literally turns into sand, and another one that shoots electricity, and another one that catches on fire. So maybe lay off the accuracy problems. I'm just saying, other shit's happening in this show. That's not that did not happen in the 30s.
Half dude, half spider.
Yeah,
Beat
he's. I
the
mean,
other guy.
yeah, there's a guy that was partially a spider. Maybe chill out about worrying about shit like that. I'm just that's all I'm saying. If you can suspend your disbelief about that shit, I think you can suspend it about racial stuff too. Um, beyond that, oh, I forgot to mention cinematography. You mentioned it earlier about the black and white thing. Fucking phenomenal. I said earlier in the week, I was like, God damn, I hate how overused Dutch angles are. I do. I do not like how people overuse Dutch angles. They had many Dutch angles in this show, and I was fine with it. Why? Because they are used for effect. They are used for effect within a scene. That's all I need. Don't just be throwing Dutch angles in just because you feel like it. They have to, and you have to set the shots up in a way that it makes sense and looks good. That's a lot of this show, like especially that first episode. I was like, oh, whoever the cinematographer is, boy, they thought about exactly the way they wanted this shit to look. And the director, they thought very hard about that because they had like the bit with Cat singing, the backlighting, the shadows, the silhouettes, all that other stuff. I mean, you couldn't ask for better. You could stop, frame that picture, you'd have a great picture. You know, Legion Lee up there with the headdress and the dress and everything, beautiful pictures. But even like just like they have shots where they're looking up, at him at the desk, the light hits just right. Like they really thought hard about how this looks, and I really appreciate that. Like we watch a lot of stuff. I love that they wanted to make interesting camera angles and shots, and the production design and the costume design. They're all working hand in hand to make something that's visually stimulating. And I really appreciated that in this show. Am I gonna ever watch this in color? Not gonna do it. It's not happening. The black and white is the way it was supposed to be watched. That's the way I am watching it. I see no reason to watch this in color. But you guys do you. So overall, I think this is a pretty big win. I hope they do more. I don't think they will, but if they ever decide to do more,
I don't know.
I'm
It
here.
kind of like it kind of felt like it had the potential to have more, but it probably won't.
Yeah, this is if Nick Cage is game and they can get him on his schedule right and they can bring everybody back together. But I can almost guarantee you if we see another one of these, it won't be for 2 or 3 years. Just because they got to line everything up, they got to green light it. Hopefully, they have a story. So, but if this is just a one and done or a proof of concept that Sony can actually fucking do something right, with their Spider-Man characters that aren't Peter Parker, I would be completely fine with seeing more things like this that are more inspired like this.
I think that regarding Sony, I think that the problem is not that they can do anything right with Spider-Man that is not Peter Parker, because they did well so far. They can't do anything without Spider-Man. That's the problem. Any kind
Yeah,
of Spider-Man. They need some kind of spider presence just to keep things going, but not Madam Web.
I just wonder if they had the same kind of creative drive, like this is, cause Lord and Miller are the producers on this. They are not the creators; they're just producers. But if they had a creator or a team of creators that were as enthusiastic and as had as much love for the material with it like they had with this, with Craven or with Morbius, because Morbius is not a bad character. Neither Madam Web's not a bad character. So where are the creators that love these characters enough that they'll do justice to them the way that Spider-Noir did to the Ben Reilly character? If they can find these people and empower them to make shit like this and get out of their way to tell this particular story, the Spiderless verse could be fine. But like, it's shit has been cash grabs up to this point, and it's showed. This seems more like, I don't want to say a labor of love, but definitely a project spearheaded by people who knew the material, loved the material, and have a real love for cinema. Because there's a lot of cinema within this. There's a lot of cinema appreciation within this show, and I hope that we can get more of that. That just somebody who really gives a shit about what they're doing. That'd be nice. That's all. So anyway, I think we had a good time with this. I hope you guys did too, and let us know how you felt down in the comment section, which of course means that we are all out of things to talk about this week on the Supercast. But I don't know, it's a slow news week. Maybe we missed something. Maybe you agree with us, disagree with us, want to show some love, troll, whatever the case may be. You know what you got to do. You got to get down there to the comment section and leave your thoughts there. And of course, you can always hit us up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com, blurred_force1 on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. And while you're doing that, do us a favor, get down there, hit like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. All that good stuff helps to grow this channel, helps more people to see this podcast and all of the other things we do on Blurred Force 1. And of course, couldn't do this by myself. Our resident Reed Richards truther and comics aficionado, she wanted to let us know about. I didn't know this. I did not know that you were a fan of Casablanca. I love that movie too. So like, hey, I did not know that, and you thanks for sharing that with us. But where can they reach you on social media?
As always, it's core_mixed on Threads first and foremost, on Tumblr occasionally, and on Instagram for now.
And maybe something else in the future.
Maybe Twitch, maybe YouTube, maybe, you know what? I don't even know.
Who
I'm
knows?
trying, like, I'll come up with something. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's an alternate universe version of you that's doing all of that other stuff. So
it probably was born wealthy.
We've got to. I think we need to get that little, what is it? The Spider-Verse, the little thing to go between universes. See if we can. we can.
Yeah.
Well, you guys go
check out.
Yeah, go show some love to what is it? Prime Universe Polly at our social media accounts. Anyway, this has been episode 231 of the Supercast. Superhero Summer starts officially next week. We are looking forward to a lot of cool things. So, and we're of course are going to talk about that. The lead up to Brand New Day is getting serious. It's in July, but they're getting serious. Supergirl is right around the corner, y'all. X-Men 97 season 2 right around the corner. There is so much going on this summer. It's an embarrassment of riches, and we're gonna love talking about it then. So until then, I've been Mo, your comic extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by my good friend Polly, and we'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.